Keola has bought 8 rental properties in his first 10 months of investing in real estate without using any of his own money. But that's not even the coolest part. What's the coolest part?
All the way from Hawaii.
Aloha! In this video, we're going to discuss how to invest virtually, which means not investing in the market that you live in, with this guy who's crushing it. Not every market is good for owning rentals in that specific market, but no matter what market you're in, you can own rentals in other markets. Before we get into the 4 things that he did to buy virtually very, very quickly without using any of his own money, let's go back 10, 12 months. You were living in Hawaii, you were wanting to invest, you were wanting to do more with your life, but you kind of told me earlier you felt a little bit lost. You didn't know what to do or how to do it.
Yeah, well, number one, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here and be a part of what you got going on here at Faster Freedom. And Hawaii is an appreciation market versus a cash flowing market, and you have to understand what market you're in before you get going. And a lot of people do not take the time to know that market. So I was lost at the time, wanted to get ahead, wanted to be a part of something bigger, knowing that I wanted to provide a certain type of freedom for my family down the road. I found Sam on TikTok, believe it or not, and decided, to just go all in. And I think that was the biggest thing, is that I just made a decision to commit to something. I was living a pretty good life, but to commit to more of a greater life. And I think that that's probably the biggest thing.
Yeah, I think you're in a position that a lot of people are in. They want to invest in real estate. They know it's a great investment. They want to own rental properties. They maybe even understand the BRRRR method and how to do that, but they don't live in a market that works. Hawaii doesn't work, downtown LA, downtown New York. There's a handful of 10, 15 markets in the country where you can't invest there, and a lot of people feel lost or stuck thinking, I guess I just can't do it. Right. But there's a virtual way to do it.
Absolutely. And number one, it really comes down to your mindset. I think your mindset really needs to be on point. I think, surrounding yourself with the right people and reading the right books is going to help you develop that mindset. I think that that's really, really important.
Yeah, that's number one. You already did number one. I like it. Number one is mindset. No, you're good. You're great. I love it. And I think that's one of your biggest strengths, is having that right mindset, because you know that you don't know it all, but you're willing to have that mindset of, I'm going to learn what I don't know, and the mindset of always willing to help out others. You've helped me out a ton already, and just helping out other people is a big part of it.
Yeah, I think that that's the key. Is I think so many of us live a quiet life of desperation, and we just are maybe afraid to ask for help. And but once you go over that fear of, like, there's so much opportunity in asking for help. Confucius says,
I like it.
Confucius says, a man that asks a question for a moment is an idiot for a moment, but a man that does not ask a question ever is an idiot for life.
Number 2 kind of piggybacks a little bit off of what we were just talking about with number 1, is you were willing to go out and get help and lean on other people's knowledge and honestly leverage other people's knowledge. This isn't going to be a pitch for the mentorship. That's obviously a possibility for whoever, but just talk about honestly what getting around other people and getting the right knowledge, and honestly getting a little help and staying in the lanes and having guardrails, honestly, going down the highway.
Yeah, I think really, you're going through life and there's already a ton of minefields out there, all right? And having somebody that's already gone through those minefields and are going down that road of potential disasters happening. The cool thing is that having support in some sort of real estate investment association, some masterminds, some meetup groups, it gives you the courage, it builds up that confidence that you're going to need down the road. And I think so many people just lack the initiative to just go out there and meet people and network with people. They want to live in online or something like that. It's really difficult to build online. You really got to be in it. You got to really take action.
Yeah, so he's bought 8 rentals, like I said earlier, in 10 months, and you notice it's so much about what's going on up here. Getting involved with other people helps tactically. Use this formula, don't use that formula, use this. It helps to do that, whether it's our mentorship or whatever, it helps to do that. But I love that you keep going back to, it's more in people's head than actually doing. I've been saying recently, and I think it's probably pretty accurate. 90% of my success and other successful people and your success is mental. Only 10% of it is tactical. And having the right mentor or having the right person to lean on will help you tactically and mentally.
100%. I think that, quite honestly, if my son hadn't said, "You need to get on TikTok, Dad," and it was just one of those things where I was like, "What's ticky-tack?" Whatever,
But a TikTok, that helps your breath.
yeah. But the thing was that I think that was really a pivotal moment. And when you look back at life, it's like that little seed that my son planted really led to, being able to pursue, Sam and his team and really learning how to do this.
Yeah, I like it. And honestly, him telling you to do that, you're going to, and on the path, you're going to affect his great grandkids with what you're building now, which is really
exciting.
cool. I think to round out number 2 before we get to number 3, we're going to get a little more tactical as we get going. But every successful real estate investor I know, every single one, and you're kind of in the fold now. We'll get that here in a minute. They all pay for help.
Absolutely.
I go up there, talk about. I spend $100,000 a year in mentorships and masterminds, and subscription services to be connected with the right kind of people. So it's almost like the more money and time and effort you're willing to spend to glean information from other people, you get 10, 20, 30 times that back in your own pocket, as well as the mindset part of it.
Absolutely, and that comes down to mindset too. Parking costs money. Everything costs money. That's a value. When you go to a stadium, the more expensive seats are closer to the people that are on the field, right? Mm-hmm. And the people that are on the field are probably making 10 times as much money or more money than the person that's so get in the game, right? Mm-hmm. I think that's the biggest thing is you have to pay for. You want to get around people that have the results. It does cost money. College costs money. Everything costs money. It's just what are you willing to commit to and be serious about it.
I love it, and it's almost like the transformation in the transaction. So if you spend a little bit of money, that's great. You're probably more willing to take action.
That's a great point, yeah.
So number 3, before we get to 4, which is definitely super tactical, and we'll give you some go-to-do things. But number 3 is you took action. Holy cow, you took action. And you're just getting started. Why don't you tell them about your goal of how many rentals you're going to have in the next few years, and then kind of talk about how you went and took action.
Sure. Our goal is 200 single-family homes in the next 5 years. We have a strategy that we're going to, a plan in place to create that action. Action without a goal, I think, is just a wish. Is that right?
Well, I love it. You got all these Keola-isms, we're going to call them. Yeah. I love it. Keola-ism.
I think it's really, taking the action. Once you take that action, you will figure it out. But you can't sit there and worry about the theories of this, or what if the market does that, or the market's going to do whatever the market's going to do. What can you control? You can control your action, you can control your attitude, you can control your effort, and that's it. That's all you need to be successful pretty much in anything, right? So just taking action is super important. So from meeting Sam in November, going through his courses, we were able to find a deal by February of last year, and we had 10 by December of this past year.
So you took action, and it's I want to touch on that point real quick. It's not, you're not going to time the market. No one's ever going to time the market. It's about time in the market, not timing the market, because the markets. I just did a video on this the other day that I don't care what my rental properties are worth. They're going to go up, down. They're going to be worth less than they are today. At some point, they're going to be worth way more, less, way more. As long as I'm looking to sell them, it's just fine. So just take action. Don't worry about the external factors. I love that. And just go out and make it happen. I feel like my mentorship is extremely helpful with the videos, the calls, everything. But that being said, you're still going to learn 20% of it through that. 80% of it you're going to learn on the job, going out and taking action. The mentorship's there to help guide you through that, but you're going to learn a vast majority of what you're going to learn by doing it, and you're not going to do it unless you take action.
So how do you take action virtually, right? I think that's probably one of the biggest questions. Well, you have to show up. You have to make commitments in your own schedule and your own day-to-day. Get rid of the clutter. Whatever's cluttering your your mental real estate, get rid of it. If it doesn't make you if it doesn't improve you or grow you or make you more money, then get rid of it, whatever's in your mind. I think that you have to be present in the market that you decide to go to. You know, if you decide to invest in a market in the Midwest or wherever it is, it doesn't matter. You have to at least show up and be a part of those real estate masterminds. People really will take you seriously when you show up to those meetups. They're like, man, these guys are, you know, they're really serious. So I think that that's part of it too, is the commitment, committed. So yeah, you got to be committed to the, stop worrying about your feelings. Don't commit to your feelings, commit to your, you know, your, well, commit to your commitments.
I love it, Keolaism. So number 4 kind of goes in, they're all kind of tying together. Number 4 is getting boots on the ground.
Yeah.
So talk about that a little bit. Ideally, you would know somebody, family, relative, good friend in whatever virtual market you are investing in. That's not always the case. And you don't need to fly out there every single week. But in my opinion, and he will tell you more from real life experience, you need to have some type of connections. You can make them with your personal connections, or you can go out there. You need to visit it at least a little bit, kind of the market that you're going to be in if you want to own rentals. If you want to wholesale virtually, you never have to visit where you're going. But if you want to invest in rentals virtually, there's a few different ways to do it. Why don't you talk about how you did it as far as how you got your boots on the ground? You had kind of a little bit of past experience in St. Louis, which helped you, but a lot of people have that in certain markets, especially in the Midwest. So why don't you talk a little bit
Absolutely. So, you know, real estate is all about real relationships. You have to create relationships with your, you know, vendors, your construction people, your mentors. You have to be willing to put in the work, and that requires you to get some time commitment, right? And how we're able to do that is, well, I just made it happen. We just decided, made a decision, and took action. Meeting people is pretty easy, but finding good quality people to help you through that takes time, and relationships take time. So the biggest thing is are you willing to invest in a relationship with your contractor or your mentor or whoever it is? Are you willing to invest, or are you just spending time, right? I think a lot of people, so many people just spend time. They don't invest time, and they spend money. They don't invest money. And when you understand those two principles of time and money, whether or not you're investing or spending, man, your life will change. But boots on the ground is super important. You have to have trust. You have to be able to trust those contractors to say what they're going to, follow through with what they say they're going to do, and that's the relationship.
How did you meet those contractors?
Through meetups, and then also through some friends of ours that had also had opportunities in real estate. But it's all connected. It's all through somebody else's relationship, or building trust through other individuals or people. Or it took time.
You don't have to go to Home Depot and go walking around in your market and look for somebody that's got spack all over them. Say, hey, will you mud and tape my house? No, you don't have to do that. That's something you can do locally, but virtually, it's like you said, those online Facebook groups, those online meetups, those in-person meetups if possible, any connections you have there, just reach out to your network, utilize that network for a lot of things, but a big one is making connections to find contractors, but also the same thing, making connections to find houses. And how much money you spent on marketing to buy your 8 houses?
0.
Yep. It's about connections and making networking. You don't have to spend money to get houses.
Yeah, it's all about investing into my mindset.
I love it. This is mindsets. We got 4 tactical or four kind of tips, and mindset's kind of been
mindset.
The common
I would
theme.
say out of the 4 is probably mindset is the number one. I would say is probably the most important.
I like to talk about mindset a little bit, but it just doesn't seem to catch the headlines as do this, but it's the most important thing, so we're going to continue to talk about it.
Yeah. Mindset is really important because if you can have the right mindset, you can set up the right processes. And if you have the right mindset, it'll put people, places, processes will all go in alignment. And if you have that mindset of that, people, processes, and places.
Yep.
Places. Wherever you decide, whatever market. Because even in one market, there's sub-markets. That you have to be really, really in tune with. Know your market. That's another one. That's another one. Is know your market.
Yeah, for sure. I love it. Awesome. Well, if you got any, out of this video, please give this video a like. I talk a lot up here about what I've done, and I wanted to bring in some real life people that are absolutely crushing it just through what they've done. Obviously, if you're interested in the mentorship, below in the description, there is a link for the free training. You can schedule a call with my team to talk about it. But even if not, that's just fine. There's plenty of free resources on here we get into. So I would say, I think I can say it's at the end and the beginning of the video, or you can say aloha. That means hello and goodbye, right?
It means, yeah, aloha.
Aloha.